on this anniversary or holiday, which we celebrate here in America as Mother's Day, while we will be celebrating one of America's greatest of all divine mothers, we would also like to take this opportunity to invite as many of you as possible to make your travel plans and to journey here into this heart of the Ascended Master's Vanguard activity this coming July, to be a part of our 4th of July celebration, which is entitled The Masters, the Temple, and America's Destiny, where the 4th of July meets the Golden Age. We are very sensitive to the fact that our words are going out far and wide across the face of the earth, that many of you who are listening and who will listen in the next week to this release will, of course, naturally be concerned with the welfare of your own blessed and native country that we are sure you love most dearly. And in recent years, there has been certainly a stress in the international climate of the Ascended Master's ministration to the mankind of this earth. However, they, the Ascended Masters, are quick to remind all of you, far and wide, you who are the freedom-loving light bearers of the incoming age, for all of you to remember that for some time yet in the future, as goes America, so goes the world. For America is still, regardless of all the assaults that are made upon her honor, she is still the bulwark and the champion of all who are lovers of freedom, and all who in their hearts bear the light of the fire of the Christ and of their own mighty I Am presence. Regardless of how this light has been assailed and derided, how that light has been impugned in so many quarters, nevertheless, it is a light that can be traced from the countenance of those who bear that light directly to the heart of their own mighty I Am presence, and thence onward and homeward to the heart of the great central sun. So the Ascended Masters do ask all of you to continue to intercede for and on behalf of America and her peoples, as well as those of your own native country, as well as all freedom-loving nations and peoples far and wide across the face of the earth. Today, as we look back to the roots of our heritage here, which point to her destiny, we would like to remind you of some of those who are the sponsors of America. Most especially, of course, our own beloved Saint Germain, of whom we will have more to say shortly, but also our own beloved Goddess of Liberty. She is a cosmic mother who has doted upon all of the light bearers of this world since time immemorial. She was known to the ancient Greeks and Romans as Demeter, or Ceres in the case of the Romans, And her love for her offspring is celebrated in a very long and famous poem of her love for her daughter, who was symbolic of the heart flame and the soul taken into embodiment, and of how beloved Demeter, or as we now know her, our own goddess of liberty, sought to discover her child's whereabouts and to rescue her from the bowels of the darkened places of the earth. She has also been celebrated for so very long as one of those who are the sponsors of God in all of nature. Indeed, everyone who has enjoyed the purity of the mountains, the sunshine on the trees and the rocks and the pure waters of the streams, everyone across the world in touch with the pure stream of God in nature, unbeknownst to themselves, have been the recipients of her personal ray, have known the kindness, the generosity of her heart, and of her great desire to lavish them, each one, with the grace of the light and life of the presence that would lift them out of their own limitations into the freedom of their divine estate. So please, one and all, wherever you might be, both here in America and far and wide across the face of the earth, do feel that this blessed life, the blessed cosmic being is known of you. You are known of her, and you are a child of her loving heart and protection. Furthermore, you should also understand that it was in collaboration with her flame that the dream of freedom that we now know as the history of the United States of America took shape several hundred years ago. You might consider that even as Pallas Athena was the patron of the city of Athens, to whom her citizens looked for protection and inspiration and guidance, and to whom they raised many a glorious statue in commemoration of beloved Pallas Athena's service to them, even so, we here in America have come to know her in the personification of the Mother of Liberty and that glorious statue that still stands in New York Harbor commemorating her great mission. It should come as a great joy to each and every one of you to know that regardless of how outer affairs might have shifted here in this nation, regardless of what might go on that is unseemly in various levels of government or culture and so forth, business, that regardless of all of this desecration, there still remains behind the scene the heart and soul of America, beating from the ascended master octaves with a resilience of life and vitality and eternal youth that will not, under any circumstance, be denied. And each and every one of you need not look back with sentimentality at the good old days of yesteryear of 1776, thinking wistfully that you wish you could turn back the clock to those times and relive those glories once again, but rather you should realize that right now, here in 2009, you may, upon the instant, direct the communion of your heart first to your own beloved mighty I Am presence, and then into the waiting arms of the beloved goddess of liberty and the stalwart, ever optimistic heart of the God of freedom, our own beloved Saint Germain, the cosmic honor flame, beloved Godfrey, and many, many others of the ascended host who stand as guardians and champions of the cause of freedom, who are in no way daunted by the past, but as beloved El Moria has so succinctly put it, consider that past merely as prologue to the present, and to understand that we, who are the inheritors of the truth, of the teachings of the ascended masters, as well as the inheritors of all that our nation has paid for the price of freedom, that we are poised upon this glorious moment in time, holding in the palm of our hands the divine authority and the power to bring about the dream of the ascended masters for America as her destiny, and thence to repopulate and multiply that same pattern and example far and wide across the face of the earth. May this serve as a tonic, an elixir, a universal tonic that cures all ills, that cures baldness, that dissolves warts, that restores eternal youth, that does all sorts of miracles, perhaps the greatest being the restoration of a sense of optimism and hope for the future, and a sense that the power of accomplishment is still trembling upon the lip of the cup of manifestation. What is meant by this? Well, as the decades roll in an individual's lifetime, if they are not careful, first in the mind and feelings, there will begin that creeping rigor mortis of a certain sense that one's best days are in the past, that everything now is a denouement, a very gradual and slow decline into the retirement of old age and so forth, rather than a sense that regardless of past efforts and past successes and failures and so forth, that it is still possible to bring forth the very best in life as it relates to the future. Even amongst those who have come and joined the ranks of ascended master activities in their teens and early 20s, who, as the saying goes, gave the best years of their life to those activities, have made the mistake, for one reason or another, of considering that epoch of their life is over and done with, that they must look to themselves, they must look to somehow or another living out their life, rather than being possessed of a spirit within themselves that is galvanized with enthusiasm for the opportunities that are present today, the opportunities to bring into manifestation the great accomplishments that are laid upon the screen of the mind's eye for precipitation. Let us stay upon this topic for just a few moments longer, for the Ascended Masters would like to impart to each and every one of you a certain charge of light, a ray that if you are able to attune with it, you would be able to trace directly to the heart of the great central sun, a ray that would terminate in a coal of living fire upon your heart, a flame there that will not be denied, a flame that must press onward and press forward, a flame that is astonishingly distinct from what might be the outer appearances of the times. We are speaking of a certain God consciousness that can only be described as a consciousness of eternal youth, eternal youthfulness, vitality, and the beginning cycles of life, regardless of the age of the physical form. In that sense of youthfulness and vitality, there is a spirit of optimism that one's life still lies ahead upon the screen of the future, that all things are possible, that you can throw yourself with great abandon and relish and vigor into great enterprises of accomplishment, galvanizing your own personal energies with those of kindred hearts that share your vision. This is a signature of the presence of the Ascended Masters and their brotherhood. You might as well, at some point, reckon with this particular action of the sacred fire, for it is not only produced by the Ascended Masters, but it is likewise the nature of your own individual mighty I Am presence. Your mighty I Am presence is ageless. Your mighty I Am presence is eternally youthful. And your mighty I Am presence is, if you have not yet discovered it, extremely resolute in its determination to accomplish certain tasks here in this world. And if it does not complete those tasks in one embodiment, already the presence is planning. Already the presence has crystallized that determination to come back into this world and to make the effort to try and try and try again. You might as well make peace with this nature of your own beloved mighty I Am presence, because that presence will never give up the divine plan which it has set before itself. It shall accomplish the fullness of that plan. And then, and only then, will your presence summon its heart flame home in the victory of the ascension. As it is with your own beloved presence, so it is with the ascended masters. They are possessed of both an infinite capacity for patience, as well as an infinite, resolute God determination that never says die, that never capitulates, that never says, oh, well, it didn't work. Let's just fold up our tents and vanish away into our own higher octaves and leave the world to its own devices. On the contrary, there is a spirit in the brotherhood of light that can only be described as a spirit of the Resurgam Christos, that comes forth and comes forth and comes forth and comes forth and will continue to raise up new ones to carry its banner. If institutions which it has established in the past, for whatever reason, understandable though those reasons might be from the human perspective, if that institution can no longer be the instrument, the direct instrument of the brotherhood, then the ascended masters have no qualms about beginning again to raise up such an instrument and to bring it forth in the world of form. They would transfer to each and every one of you a very courageous flame, a flame that dares to hope for the very best, that dares to actually believe that it is still possible to inscribe upon the screen of the future records of accomplishment, records of the great work of the ages, of bringing forth after the divine design, the patterns, the blueprints, the gold prints of a golden age civilization and a golden age society. Each and every one of you ought to have the sense that even as this accomplishment has been done in the past, it will in fact be done again. Right now, the opportunity for that rests with those who are able to hear the voice of the ascended masters, able to hear that summoning. Hopefully, as you gave the summoning decree today, you could detect the cadence of the rhythm of that resolute will and God determination captured in the words of beloved El Moria. For it signifies an attribute that is shared by all members of the brotherhood. And the brotherhood is very much crystallized in their determination that now is not a time to merely act in a defensive mode, a mode of recapitulation, but rather to redouble our efforts, regardless of past accomplishments or less than accomplishments, regardless of past errors or whatever might have taken place in the past. And in redoubling these efforts, to hold to the patterns that are there for the golden age. This may indeed still require a degree of strenuous exertion in order for this great work to be accomplished. But as you heard in the strains of the summoning decree, you will discover that you are able to cement your labor with a feeling of joy, a feeling of fulfillment and accomplishment in the service that you are rendering. We have heard this statement over and over again. Heart flames who have awakened and said to themselves and to us, I was born to do this work. I was born to actually be engaged in this service. Wherefore to try thee, if the temple be not erected. So in this class, there will be a calculated association and an intertwining between America's destiny, the ascended masters, and the instrument of their own fashioning, the temple of the presence. This intertwining is like those famous friends, Damien and Pythias, who felt such kindred spirit for one another. For indeed, it is the ferment of the ideas and the truths of cosmic law that hold the missing link, that hold the key for the redemption of the times in which we live. We do not have all of the time today to rehearse for you the power of an idea when it is well planted in the human imagination. Suffice it to say that the record is very clear that where a son of God or a daughter of God has released the radiant glyphs of a divine idea, when those ideas have been captured in the printed word, and when they have radiated forth into the mental world and into the feelings of the collective consciousness of mankind, they do have a certain radioactive power that causes the recreation of the same ferment of that radioactivity in the minds and the hearts and the imaginations of others as well. It is a form of a divine contagion that is needed more and more within the world scene. And it is the mission of the Ascended Master's instrument, the Temple of the Presence, to be the engine of that ferment through Acropolis Sophia, as the shining city set upon a hill whose light cannot be hid. It is the divine plan of the Brotherhood to be constantly engaged more and more publicly in the marketplace of ideas, as those are written about, lectured on, debated, and argued in various areas far and wide across the face of the earth. It has taken the masters some time to reestablish a firm foundation for this activity, but it is the hope of the future rests in this ability for those who are raised up to go forth and to begin to say to those pundits who control so much of the mass media, here is an alternative understanding of what is taking place that you might wish to consider. These are the principles of life that have in the mystery schools been known for quite a long time, that have now come forth once again as golden precepts of the law of life. They apply to all mankind, whether they be ignorant or rebellious or compliant with those laws. As these new ideas come forth, and as more and more of mankind's imagination can be held to those new ideas, as beloved Kuthumi wrote over a century ago, they will fashion a new continent of thought. They will be the seed ideas that, in a peaceful, transmutative way, are able to create a revolution of their own, bringing forth good fruit after their kind. That is why there is such an intertwining between America's destiny, her ability to endure and to transcend the past, to adjust to all of the weights that are pulling upon her energies at the present time. There is an absolute necessity that these principles of cosmic law come forth, and so they shall. We hope that all of you can be electrified and galvanized as well by this light of eternal youthfulness, this ray of divine momentum as it comes forth from your own mighty I Am presence and from the Ascended Master octaves. We hope that each and every one of you will understand that indeed you do live in an epoch of the world's history, that is, when there is the raining down by the great Manus of the root races, an impetus of this divine thought, that if you allow your heart and your attention to be drawn to it and fed by that radiation, you yourself will be lifted into the stature of the knowledge of that is held of your own mighty presence by these great Manus of the root races, especially our own beloved great divine director. This is a level of God consciousness that will be released once again upon the occasion of this 4th of July class. It is a very interesting, it will be quite an interesting process to actually receive this radiation and overview of human events in human history from one standpoint, because, for instance, now there has been a celebration that the highest and the best good of all wisdom is a mathematical majority of 51% of the human citizenry of a given nation. That somehow or another, whatever happens to be the prevailing momentary will of that majority equates to the highest and best that life can offer. For political reasons, it may very well be for a long time to come that idea of that mathematical 51% needs to remain in place as a practical way in which individual citizens in a nation are able to best govern themselves. But it does decry the entire dimension of the nature of the Godhead, the nature of the mighty presence, and the externalization of that by the great manus of the root races. For here you no longer find that it is this simple, commonly held belief system that trumps all other truths, but rather you are able to harness and to be attuned to a very powerful individual God consciousness in the person of the Manu, such as the great divine director, or beloved Himalaya, or the god and goddess Meru. And in that case, there is a pressure of light and of God consciousness that is brought to bear, that comes from the level of the Godhead and says, here is the pattern of identity. Here is the understanding of selfhood that you are to embody. It just so happens that that is both a royal and a noble personage, that pattern of identity, the individual mighty I am presence of every life stream. And it does so happen that throughout all of the ranks of the ascended masters and cosmic beings, there would never be such a thing as a grassroots uprising that would lead to an overturning of the divine authority of those from the great central sun, of the great I am that I am, considering that the rank and file of ascended masters somehow or another in their 51% would know better. So part of this that will come forth at this class is the consciousness of these great manus, for they hold firm within their consciousness a vision of the future that is quite different from what has been appreciated heretofore. It is a vision, truly, of that which will in time be the fullness of a golden age for unascended mankind. It is a vision where each life stream operates in the full dignity and mantle of the divine authority of their own mighty I am presence, where each life stream is able to cooperate with the law of life that is universal and absolute to every part of life. Part of the mission of the Temple of the Presence is to bring about a lowering of that vision. Elements of it here, elements of it there, elements in each of the 7 rays and of the 5 secret rays. And as these elements are put in place one by one by one, those disparate elements are seen to make a very cohesive mosaic of that which the golden age shall be. And this is so desperately needed on the part of the peoples, the light bearers of America and the freedom-loving peoples far and wide across the face of the earth. What is needed is an alternative vision of God perfection, both for the individual, for society, for governments, and for this world. A vision that already has been preserved since time immemorial in the hearts of the ascended masters. It has been preserved intact for and on behalf of the mankind of this earth. And sooner or later, you may rest assured that that is the vision that is going to win out. Why? Because that vision is beyond the reach of the decay of time. It is eternally youthful and vital. It is impregnated with the will of the God of very gods, and is absolutely held inviolate. And with each successive generation, the Brotherhood of Light sends forth its new ones into this world, possessed of a new impetus of youthfulness and vitality and enthusiasm and hope and purity of consciousness and high ideals, and another impulse toward that golden age is one. And the beauty of it is that the ascended masters can outweight all of the recalcitrance and slow movement of the mankind of this earth. Many years ago, our beloved Lord Mahachohan was concluding one of the voices of the Ruby Chalice visitations, rather, and upon the final sealing of that formal visitation, rather than taking his leave, he launched into this very subject and stated with great equanimity of spirit, a patience and a calmness that bordered on a mountain range itself, stating that they, the ascended masters, would outweight the mankind of this earth in their determination to have this golden age come forth. That time was on their side, that one by one, and then a trickle, and then more and more and more, there would be this movement of life streams to come to the path and to rediscover the joys of outpicturing all that is their mighty I Am presence. And you could tell that there was not going to be the slightest disturbance upon the countenance of this or any member ascended of the Brotherhood as to the dissimulations here upon this world, the relative successes and failures of the outer forces of mankind, that there was an inner resolve and mutual reinforcement amongst the hearts of the members of the Brotherhood that was crystallized in their determination that they would, of a certainty, bring forth this plan for the redemption of this world through the inauguration of a golden age. We are in a very auspicious time when, regardless of all evidence to the contrary, much is indeed possible. The Brotherhood has taken great pains to fashion the institutions of their instrument, that is the temple, in a way that can stand the test of time and can actually be amplified and multiplied so that when the numbers are increased, the institutions and the ideals that have been espoused will also be amplified and multiplied and be able to embrace the multitudes that are to come in. We have such a wonderful jewel already established here. And this forthcoming July class is intended to be a patriotic rally that not only champions the very best of what needs to come forth here in America, but also seeks to reinvigorate the heart flames of all of our generations, different generations of light bearers, so that they can go and perform the service as was originally intended by the ascended masters. While it would be phenomenal for a life stream to be raised from the dead, in some respects, it is more phenomenal yet for a life stream to have restored to them the high ideals of their youth, the enthusiasm of their youth, the never say die spirit of their youth, the sense of high adventure and enthusiasm for the work that lies ahead in the future. I'm not sure that there is, after the ascension, such a thing as retirement. I'm not sure that anyone ever gets into that cycle where everything is simply reaping the rewards of past sowings, but rather it is a case of where the record of the past becomes the foundation for the multiplication of the capacity to perform greater works and greater good and be of greater service unto mankind. And that is truly a signature of the stream of eternal youth. Each and every one of you should have that sense about your own personal path as well. For nations and peoples go as the individual life streams within them go. And so there will be, as a part of this 4th of July class, especially in connection with the service of the Manus, there will be the sense of the newness of life, the purity of life that is lived by your own beloved mighty I Am presence. There will be the sense that since your mighty I Am presence is Lord of life. What is meant by Lord of life? It means that your mighty I Am presence has at its capacity fingertip control over youthfulness, fingertip control, fine-tuned control over health, over prosperity, over peace and harmony, over joy, happiness, over accomplishment. Think of the best day of your life. Maybe it was the last day of school in the 3rd grade when you were looking out the window about to go out for 3 blissful months. Maybe you felt like Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer. Not a care in the world. Not any cloud on the horizon of your consciousness. Not all of the weights and responsibilities of adulthood. Maybe not even all the dubious blessings of relationships in all cases. Just to be youthful, carefree, and nothing but life as your oyster, as the saying goes. That is what it means for your mighty I Am presence to be Lord of life. It means the ability to resurrect every pattern that is less than perfection, to convey to it eternal youth, to convey to it eternal resurrection, to have it never grow old, never decay or become decrepit. It means that your presence is able to infuse that life into any pattern that is deemed worthy and to bring it forth again. So won't you please, beloved torchbearers of the temple and light bearers, won't you please have the sense that you can still accomplish everything. In the future, in the present, you can still accomplish it all. There is no limitation whatsoever to what you personally, that is to say, your presence through you, can accomplish. But furthermore, there is no limitation to what we together, in one voice, we here and we, the ascended masters, can accomplish, regardless of past precedent, past failures, regardless of the odds, regardless of outer appearances. Do you know why this is true? Or you know what the secret is in your case for that? It's as simple as the stream of the life of your own individual mighty I Am presence flowing along your crystal cord. That life from your electronic body knows no age, no limitation, no past failures. What it does know is the dancing, sparkling sunshine, happiness, joy, accomplishment, victory, youthfulness, enthusiasm, and passion of your own mighty I Am presence. And wouldn't it be great, rather than running all the way up to the finish line of life and then just coming a few steps short and then having to start all over again, wouldn't it be great to just be a little bit more tenacious about the path, a little bit more God-determined, accepting a little bit more of the impetus from the brotherhood, tying into their momentum, tying into their God determination. And fortunately for all of us, for a very long time now, beginning with our own beloved Sanat Kumara, there has been this dogged, never say die determination to bring forth this golden age and to see that the infant races of the multitudes of life streams on this planet rise to their maturity. You know, there's the story told of how those who came with Sanat Kumara so very long ago built a beautiful city. No sooner had they built it than it was overrun and they were all killed. Well, they got out of embodiment and they turned right around and they came back in and they built it again. I guess it happened several times, but they kept coming back and they kept rebuilding that city. And that every time was a new momentum that held with more tenacity and God determination to bring forth the lowering of what we now know as the golden etheric city of Shambhala. That spirit is one that each and every one of you may inherit from your own beloved mighty I Am presence. If you don't have enough of that, allow beloved Saint Germain and the great divine director, the goddess of liberty, and so many others to administer the tonic of their own illimitable spirit to your own, so that you will be possessed of that newness of life, that it will flow through your flesh body as pure water sluices through a faucet, that it will wash away all sense of failure and decrepitude and bathe your flesh and bathe your consciousness in that indomitable life and light that is the life stream of your own crystal cord that you receive from your mighty I Am presence. And in that alliance, basically what will happen is you'll do yourselves a favor and shorten the time of your own earthly service and travail, if travail it has ever been, meaning that you will be able to get the work done that your mighty presence has decreed, that it is resolved to do one way or the other. Get that work done, and then serve from thenceforward from the ascended master octaves. That is the goal that each one should consider for themselves. Getting back for a moment to this understanding of the Manu Yuga, one of the things that is certainly very much needed is a vision, an alternative vision of what constitutes the good life, an alternative vision of how this golden age might come to pass. And so there will be the impartation of the more and more of the elements of that vision. It would do your sore hearts so much balm of Gilead to actually witness firsthand the patterns of perfection that are the destiny of America. The destiny meaning those divine experiences that have been long envisioned by the ascended masters. Quite frankly, even if it was the patterns of perfection of your own mighty I Am presence, if you really knew all that your presence had in store for you, you'd probably fall out of your chair right now, because you'd think that's way too ambitious for me, way too ambitious for God to consider. But this is also true for America and for the Golden Age, that there is so much that is envisioned. Decades ago, it was first shown to a messenger on the great cosmic screen in the Royal Teton Retreat. Those patterns may well have been adjusted, but they still exist. They are there upon the Akashic records of the future. And they are actually that which the cosmic councils have decreed. In the past, you may have heard reference to the golden scroll that is held in the hand of your own Christ presence. That upon this scroll there is written very detailed and precise accomplishments that were the joint decision of your I Am presence, Christ's presence, and the Lords of Karma for your life stream in this embodiment. The idea being that if God had decreed it, if it's written upon that scroll, then you have every right to demand of life the wherewithal to bring those patterns to pass. Furthermore, hopefully, you will actually give yourselves enough credit to believe that you can actually step into such big shoes, to step into those patterns of perfection that are written there upon that scroll. This is a matter for cosmic councils. And so it is with the destiny of America. Regardless of what the depredations of mortal consciousness might have done in the past to disfigure those patterns, regardless of what contrary patterns might be looming at lower levels, there exists still the divine patterns of the golden age, the dawning golden age of our beloved God of freedom, beloved Saint Germain, that still are living, breathing patterns for our blessed nation as the Christopher or the light bearer to all of the freedom-loving peoples of the world. And it is looking to that golden scroll held in the hand of the goddess of liberty and the beloved Saint Germain, upon which are written the destiny of America. It is there that we look to our authority when we demand and command in the name of the mighty I Am Presence that all else shall move out of the way, and that pattern of perfection shall come forth. May each and every one of you feel as if you have an ownership in this divine destiny, that you have an investment with the Goddess of Liberty and beloved Saint Germain in that future. This vision of freedom is something which the Brotherhood has been working for quite a long time, as many of you may recall. When America's independence was won, when her Constitution was forged, these things did not happen by merely mortal human beings and human institutions. They were orchestrated by certain members of the Brotherhood from behind the veil as an act of faith that there were, amongst the billions of life streams attached to this world, enough people who had risen enough in their own God control and self-control that they could inherit freedom, such as has been bestowed upon America. So America really does belong, regardless of all other complaints, belongs to those who gave her her freedom, who worked so diligently behind the veil and tipped the scales at various moments. We do not have the time today to rehearse some of the actions of our beloved Saint Germain as he worked with the founding fathers to bring forth this nation. But I will remind you of that one poignant episode upon the hesitation to sign the Declaration of Independence, when Saint Germain decided to bring forth a little bit of his theatrical flourish and to appear there as a kindly old gentleman and to speak those immortal words, sign that document, and to talk about the angel who crept up to the throne of the Godhead and who was looking about and lamenting the old world steeped in blood, the old world in its old grooves of identity. And when the Lord of life spoke from that throne and said, "I am giving America to be free." These are dispensations and momentums that come from the great central sun, from our beloved Kumaras and the Goddess of Liberty, who has been there as our ambassador and emissary to the great central sun. And that light is ongoing. It will go on. And God willing, everyone who is within the sound of our voice will feel that while they have life in their body, while they have strength, while they have resources, that this cause of the dawning golden age, this cause of the instrument of the ascended master activity, that they are one and the same with their own self-interest, with their own mission in life, with their own ultimate freedom. There is no better way to accomplish your own divine plan than to multiply your efforts with those of like mind and heart, as we shall be doing in this 4th of July class. Much, much more is there to come. But I would simply like to invite you once again to acquaint yourselves with the great heart of the Goddess of Liberty. A heart as big as the sun. A heart that knows how to send rivers of light into this world. A heart that brings with it peace and harmony. A heart that is able to take the inorganic elements of water, nitrogen and carbon, to implant the seed of life within them and to bring forth all of the abundance of nature. It's a heart that you already know. And when you do come into the embrace of her heart, it will be a memory. Let us stand and sing, God Bless America. Mighty I Am Presence, ray forth the noontide sun of your joy and happiness and your consciousness of divine abundant life as it has been preserved for all mankind from time immemorial in the ascended master octaves, in the great nirvanic realms, and most especially in the one of the great central sun. Let this, thy noble daughter, our own beloved Goddess of Liberty, receive the boundless measure of our heart's devotion and gratitude for the great champion that she has been of our freedom and of our liberty. We pray that the crown of the Elohim that resides upon her brow as it opens this 4th of July might shine forth and radiate forth a crown of rejoicing within the hearts of all of those who are her sons and her daughters here in this world. May she restore to them their innocence, their childhood, the native consciousness of their own Christ presence, that sense of freedom from peril, freedom from all of the encroachments of mortal consciousness upon them, and the restoration of that which is your inheritance for them, each one, the preservation of that divine inheritance of their own ascension in the light when they are once more ensconced in the throne of their own immortal temple and have all of your limitless universe as their inheritance. Beloved Goddess of Liberty, we stand to receive the light of 10,000 suns, as you have decreed that it shall come forth to swallow up all that would ever menace this darling of America that has been the blessed child of your son, beloved Saint Germain. Blaze forth this light of 10,000 suns as a shield of white fire, of the cosmic honor flame, a shield of purity that is stainless, that acts to rebuff all that would ever redirect our nation from her destiny. O beloved Goddess of liberty, receive into thy bosom every heart flame of every son or daughter of God of any age whatsoever, as you would receive your one and only child. Let them know what it means to have such a cosmic mother acting on their behalf. And let them raise their hearts, raise their hands, raise themselves in service to this ark of freedom in this world which we have in our beloved America.